Hey everybody, I just wanted to go through the full moon that will be here March 31st and kind of show what's happening in the sky. I got the write-up that talks about the theme of the full moon, right? And the theme of the full moon is really going to be how do we press forward with this Aries energy and do what needs to be done. Aries is this cardinal fire sign. It's very passionate. It knows that things need to be done and we need to do that. And that's where the sun is going to be hanging out here in Aries. But how do we do that from a space of balance, right? Which is what the moon in Libra is going to really ask of us. Anytime you have a full moon, it's because the moon is on the opposite side of the planet from the sun, and thus it's reflecting the most amount of light possible. So what this means when we look at charts is that the moon is opposed or opposite of the sun. And as you can see here with all these red lines, is that there's going to be a lot of tension culminating into this full moon, right? But actually, as we look into it and the relationship, it's a lot of tension, but it is powerful energy to be able to be put to use for powerful transformation and alchemy. As we're going through the process, one thing I'm going to note is that we have, so actually, I'll back up here. Where's the tension coming from? The tension is coming from the fact that the moon in Libra is squared to Mars and Saturn, who are conjunct in Capricorn, which are squared to the sun and retrograde Mercury, who are conjunct in Aries. And these two are opposed to the moon in Libra. Other areas of tension is the fact that Pluto here, hanging out also in Capricorn, is squared to the Sun and Mercury, and also Uranus and Venus. And so Pluto here is going to add that tension of really that transformative energy, right? This is a keynote that there's some space for alchemy. And where he is well aligned is with Jupiter, right? The teacher. Jupiter, the teacher in Scorpio, who also makes note that there is a space for deep transformative work in alchemy. So one of the things that eases this tension is the learning process through Jupiter connected to Pluto, but more directly so because it's connected to Mars and Saturn with a good disposition or a nice trine is going to be Venus over here. So what she is providing for us with this Taurus energy, this Venus and Taurus first degree, not like just entering Taurus, is first off, she's going to ask us to like, hey, let's try to remain grounded during this full moon and be nice to yourself, right? Just like take care of yourself. Invoke that Taurus energy. Allow yourself to find a place that's relaxing to you and calm to you, and just be persistent and in that Taurus way where she takes care of herself and she just moves. It can be slow, that's fine, but she moves through this work and through this process and holds with Venus, hold the space for self-love and hold the space for the love of the process that you're going through, because the full moon does suggest there will be a lot of tensions flaring up. But the great thing is that those tensions flaring up provide the energy necessary for the alchemy that's going to come through. And this is what I mean about the alchemy, is that we have Mars here in Capricorn. Mars is exalted in Capricorn, right? Mars, the three signs that it relates to the most is Aries, where it starts off kind of like a new recruit in the army, right? They're still playing all of the I don't know how to say this. They're still very much under the headspace of their ideals, right? They're ready to rush off. They're ready to rush off into war, to rush off into these new situations, to be a crusader, to overcome everything. And they're a little naive and bright-eyed, right? Wide-eyed, bright-eyed, and just like, yes, like let's go and do this. When they reach Scorpio, which Mars also rules over, they're in the middle of the trenches, right? They're no longer naive. They recognize like, hey, some of these struggles, they're deep and they're powerful. and they're scary, and they're fighting for that alchemy. They're fighting for that right, really, to survive, right? And then when they really come to their exaltation, Mars is exalted in Capricorn, is when they're a veteran, right? They've had that early energy that was just like, go for it. They've had the experiences that came out of that. And those trenches and trench experiences, and now they've cultivated the wisdom to know, like, when to apply direct action, when you need to take action, when to take the action of Aries, when to really dig in and do what needs to be done in Scorpio, and how to hold balance throughout this whole process, which we have here as Libra, right? And that Libra moon. So it's that wise general figure, really, right? Who's like seen it all, knows how to, with some other nods to Venus and Taurus, knows how to take care of his troops, knows how to take care of himself, knows when to act, when to hold, and not to be, and how to not be attached to all of that, right? Which brings in the concept of Wu Wei, which is fundamental to spiritual traditions such as Buddhism and Taoism, which ask us to overcome our attachment so that we're not reactionary to the world around, right? Instead, we're able to take decisive action to spontaneously do exactly what is right in the moment, right? Rather than have an event occur and us respond back due to past wounds or pains or assumptions or judgmental reactions, we're able to simply be in that environment and do exactly what we need to do, to use and harness the energy of Aries to take action when necessary, to remain balanced and in equilibrium within and to act in equanimity with Libra in order to produce this very sage-like existence where we're able to be exactly where we need to be. What's popping up randomly for me is Gandalf from Lord of the Rings. Like, a wizard is never late. He arrives exactly when he means to, right? You're just in the flow. You're not constantly responding to this emergency or that situation or this or that thing, right? We're balanced. We're in equanimity. We have an internal equilibrium, and we simply act exactly when we need to, right? So since the moon right now is waxing, now is the time to cultivate that experience and cultivate that aspect of our character, especially because this is a really good placement for Mars, who naturally rules over Aries, and it's a really good placement for Mars and Saturn right here. And it's well connected to Venus, who naturally rules over Taurus, so she's at home in Taurus, and she naturally rules over the moon. So we have this beautiful ability to wed the energies of Mars and this vital energy and essence, and in Aries, who he rules over and is exalted in Capricorn, to merge these energies. And we even have Jupiter and Scorpio playing into this with that Venus energy of Libra and Taurus, and how to remain balanced in this, and how to remain grounded in this, and bring these two lovers from the ancient myths together in order to create this new realization of ourselves, right? Also, Saturn is at home. So what's interesting here, actually, because when I immediately saw this, I was like, whoa, lots of tension, right? Because of all the red lines. But the sun is exalted in Aries, right? Like, because it's the reason why is this is the sign where the sun starts to really, the days start to become longer than the nights, starting with the spring equinox, which happens on Tuesday the 20th. So from then on, the sun is getting stronger and stronger. And if we think about this in the energy of Aries, when the sun directs our life path, so it's really useful, really, in your life path to be able to be like, I'm doing this thing, I'm going to get it done, right? Like, that's great. It's a great energy for the sun. So the sun is exalted. Venus is at home in Taurus, and she's ruling over the Libra and the moon there. Um, the Mars is exalted in Capricorn. Saturn is at home in Capricorn, and you have this wedding of these Mars energies of Scorpio, Capricorn, and Aries with the Venus energies of Taurus and Libra. So there is a lot of room. There's a lot of energy allies to help us create this alchemical work. And this alchemical work is incredibly important for the world right now, right? And now is a time when we really could use that ability to remain balanced. I mean, throughout all of human history, we can use this ability to remain balanced within, to remain in, as you read through the article, in harmony to that cosmic flow that Libra asks us to remain balanced in. And yet to be active, to be decisive, to be able to apply the wisdom of the experiences that we've had before into our lives and into real action that changes things based off of the lessons that we've learned, right? And based off of our ability to remain in equilibrium within, unattached to what's happening around us, non-reactive to what's happening around us, and yet perfectly interacting with what is happening around us in a way that brings truth, that brings mayat, that brings divine harmony and order and room for growth and healing and cultivation to a world that is often in chaos because it lacks that harmony, it lacks that internal organizing and balancing uh, energy that allows people to get too wrapped up in egoic thrusts for power and decisive actions, right? Yeah, I think I could keep going on this, but I think that would be a bit of a soapbox. So let's just hold space for the alchemy work that we're going to be able to do with this full moon and start to really dwell on, hey, what are you cultivating for this full moon, right? What character traits, what practices, what archetypes do you need to get in contact with? What spiritual practices are you going to use? And very real practical practices are you going to use to cultivate this energy that is able to take decisive action and remain balanced within at the same time and hold itself in harmony with the world around? How do you cultivate Wu Wei, right? Yeah, so I just want to put that together for you for today and to show you what that full moon is going to look like. And I'm really glad I kind of did that this way because it allowed me to step into it in a whole new way, which is really fantastic. Enjoy your day and enjoy this time of cultivation and this waxing in the moon. Bye.